You are watching Pucknology After Dark. Oh my.
After Dark. Oh my.
Oh my. It's a throwback. Good evening, everyone. It is Tuesday night, October 8th, 2013, and my goodness, oh my. We've never seen a rookie do that before, right? Sharks win 9-2 over the New York Rangers, and plenty to talk about on this special edition of Throwback Teal Town After Dark, or as my co-host would say,
Pucknology After Dark, mother.
this is your live and interactive retrospective post-game show. If you want to be a part of it, here's how you do it. You chat with us and fellow Sharks fans on the page or the app. You can always follow us on the social, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, SoundCloud, YouTube, Reddit, Discord, you name it, you love it. And for, of course, more Sharks content, you can hit us up at tealtownusa.com. Good evening, everyone. It is Puck Guy 14 here. You can always follow me here. And a pleasure to be joined by Mr. Jerk himself, Hockey Jerk.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, like, obviously, the way the playoffs went last year, you want to start the season off to the good foot. I mean, 3-0 to start the year. I mean, you obviously can't complain with that, beat Vancouver, big rival, you beat Phoenix, big rival, and then you absolutely dump on the Rangers. So, good start. Obviously a lot to talk about.
Yeah, definitely. The Sharks looking pretty good right now in their 13-14 season. And that's not just the jerseys, the new jerseys that they're talking about. I mean, come on! I mean, it was a great night for the Sharks. The Rangers coming off, flying back from L.A. after after taking down the Kings, and my goodness, my oh me, Jonathan Quick.
Yeah, that was a pretty tough goal to let in, especially I believe the Rangers were killing a penalty there, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it was a shorthanded goal of all things. So
Oh God.
let's talk about this one where the Sharks play their third game of the season. Like Jerk said, we had two games where they beat Vancouver and the Phoenix Coyotes 4-1 both times. Didn't start out too well. They would get into penalty trouble early on. You would have a penalty to Brad Stewart early on, taking looked like a little bit of an elbow to Rick Nash, and then of course our good friend Shalana Goldman with the hella dudes on the frozen pond penalty. So the Sharks were giving up a 5-on-3, and the Rangers would cash in early. Brad Richards, 327 made it 1-0. Brad Richards looks awfully good in a Rangers jersey.
Yeah, he really does. And I know, I mean, it seems like, obviously signs the big ticket deal after leaving Dallas, obviously has a lot of expectations. Um, good start to his Rangers career, but obviously, Rangers fans still want him to, hit that 90-point threshold he hit a couple of years ago. And I mean, if you're looking at this from the Rangers perspective, obviously good start for Brad Richards. I mean, who's to say if he can hit 90 points again, but time will tell. I mean, the Rangers stand to be a good team this year, so we'll see.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they look like definitely a potential to be something special, and crazy for them to start the season on a 9-game road trip while MSG's getting renovated.
Yeah, well, I mean, about time. You that that building just it was a dump. So obviously good thing they're putting some money into it. Maybe I'm hoping more than anything they upgrade the lights so you can actually see what the hell is going on.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's my biggest complaint. It looks like you're watching a game in the dark. So
I know the NHL really needs to get going on this lighting issue. You have white ice, and it just seems like it's going to be bright after that. So, oh man, crazy. But moving on, after they allow a power play goal, they pick up a shorty. Mark Edward Vlasic, I thought, had a nice seeing eye shot from Pavelski, a shorthanded goal. Not even a minute later ties the game at one. And Pickles, not exactly the offensive minded defenseman. He's always been that solid, defensive guy. He gets his first in the year.
Yeah, I thought too. Obviously, you're killing a penalty. You want to eat as much clock as you can. I liked seeing Pavelski. Pavelski eats all that time down low, and then obviously, despite having less players on the ice than the Rangers, he can somehow gets the puck to Vlasic, who is, just unopposed. Derek Stepan, caught sleeping there, and Vlasic gets it right past Lundqvist. In watching this game, kind of it's one thing that stood out to me where I was like, okay, I don't really know how that went in, but I'm not too upset about the fact that it went in.
Yeah, no, not a problem. And it did beat Lundqvist, which I found quite surprising. But what I also found surprising was Dan Boyle taking a pass. It would bounce off the boards, and then he would shoot it, and it would go in to give the Sharks a 2-1 lead. That's how it would be after 20 minutes. Boiler already looking like the offensive defenseman that we've always hoped to have.
Yeah, I mean, especially, with this, the Sharks, especially for this year, right? I mean, obviously the LA Kings, they're always dangerous. Chicago Blackhawks are always dangerous. You want to be able to keep pace with these two teams, specifically for a Western Conference perspective, and even the Anaheim Ducks as well. Like the Anaheim Ducks are just seem like they cause problems every night. So
Yeah.
for the Sharks to be able to get contributions like from their blue line like they did tonight, but just from the whole lineup in general, I mean, if they want to, go further than they did last year, they're going to need a full effort from the whole team. And so your first two goals of this game are both from defensemen. I mean, if you ask me, that's a pretty good start.
Well, not too shabby to have Boyle and Vlasic get things going, and like that ad on NHL work with the coach. You need to give 110%, 100% of the time, and
Absolutely.
and you need a full 60-minute effort. And so far, the Sharks did pretty good after 20 minutes of that one. And then the second period happened. Oh my, oh my. I mean,
Yeah.
the Sharks would score 4 goals in the second. Matt Nieto, I think I think he went to BU, but hey, he's a California native. I think he's from Long Beach or something like that. He gets his first NHL goal. Tommy Winkles and Joe Pavelski assists on that at 8:16 to give that Sharks the 3-1 lead, and good to see the kid coming through on that one.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Nieto, he's got a lot of speed, so you want to see him use that to his advantage. And, on that instant, obviously going to the front of the net as quick as he did, just picking up the loose change off of that Winkle shot. Obviously that's good to see early on, not afraid to, get in the greasy areas there, especially being a young kid. And I like how you mentioned that Long Beach thing. I don't know. I've been looking on like Twitter and stuff like that, and I think Randy Hahn even mentioned it. But like that, I feel like that's just going to become a thing where it's always like, oh, do you know Matt Nieto's from Long Beach? The whole California thing, right?
Of course, I mean, it's it. I'm sure like all the broadcasters are gonna make a big old point. It's like, oh, Long Beach.
Well, and I think, I mean, California guy playing on a California team. I think, I see where they're going with it, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
Hey, the funny thing is that the guy who scored the first goal in Sharks history, Craig Cox, is from Chula Vista. So, you know,
There you go.
hey, got a little tidbit there. If we ever play a game, if we ever did it like a Sharks Jeopardy, you should probably think about that one. Um, about a minute later, Tomas Hertl would get going again. He had 2 goals the other night against the Phoenix Coyotes. He'd get another one here, his third on the season, from Desjardins and Demers, and
Hell of a
George.
pass by Desi.
Oh, that was a beauty of a pass and a great finish there. I mean, who was it? Girardi?
Yeah, Dan Girardi just trying to block as much as the passing lane as he could, obviously, and Desi found a way to get the puck right between his skates, pretty much, and then very easy tap in for Hurdle, obviously, but just you people have kind of been talking for a while, especially last year, losing to LA the way that they did, everybody's saying, "Oh, the Sharks window's done. They've got no young talent. Trade Thornton, trade Marlowe, this, that, and the other." But, Hurdle's 19 and, had a really good game against Phoenix, as you talked about, and then obviously we'll get to it, but comes in tonight, continues, playing well to start his rookie year. I mean, it's like, this is the young talent the Sharks need.
Yeah.
And if he and Matt Nieto as well, if they're both gonna, step up, score goals on a regular or a semi-regular basis and go to the net and just do all the right things, like no reason to think the Sharks can't, make something happen again in the playoffs this year. I'd like to see them really get the young guys going just to get like, like we were talking about, a whole top and bottom, contribution from the lineup, especially with Chicago and LA and
Uh-huh.
Anaheim. Like these are the teams you're going to have to be fighting against.
Yeah. I mean, you have LA won the cup 2 years ago. Chicago's won twice. Anaheim looks like they're going to be a beast again. You would love to see California become a gauntlet and where everybody's got to fight for victories when they come through the state for sure. 20 seconds later, Logan Couture gets his second from Marlowe and Matt Irwin to make it 5-1 Sharks. This one was weird. Uh, it was like follow the bouncing puck, and then it's like one of those, what was it, like Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, McDonald's ads where it's like off the boards, bounce off the nothing but net. This one it was like Marlowe would miss wide, I mean, obviously in tribute to former Shark Christian Ehrhoff, and bounce over the net right to Couture to bang it in.
Well, and tough start too, for obviously, Lundqvist gets pulled. Lundqvist gets pulled off of after Hurdle's first goal, and then so Martin Biron comes in and has to put up, has to deal with that weird goal as you're talking about right off the hop. I mean, it's not that we care because this is a Sharks podcast, but like, what a brutal way to start, your game. You come in relief and you let in the first shot you
Oh
see.
yeah, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. We'll get some comments in the chat. Jerry F, my hometown, CV in the house. Yeah, Chula Vista, where Craig Cox was from. Scored the first goal in Sharks history. Evan Escher, hey, Emerson Edom. I totally forgot about that. He's from Long Beach too. I see him playing on the Ducks for a bit. I see a bright future in both of these Long Beach natives. Yeah, totally, for sure. You know, this feels weird but good. I agree. The Sharks up 5-1 after after a period and a half. And then Evan again. I think some of these Rangers would be a good fit for Tampa. Hey, that's close to tampering there. You gotta be careful with that one.
I mean, I don't know. Rangers look like a pretty good team this year. I don't know that they're going to trade any of their guys, but it's really anybody's guess.
Yeah,
It's still a young season. There's obviously things can fall by the wayside. So who knows?
yeah. At 12:32, again another weird play for the Sharks. Dan Boyle breaks a stick earlier in the play, and then next thing the Rangers are coming up ice. It hits his stick. It goes right to Jumbo. He feeds it to Hurdle, and my goodness, what a dangle to make it 6-1.
Yeah, well, and if you watch, they show on the replay too. Obviously the puck it hits Boyle's stick and like you said bounces right to Thornton, and you see Hurdle. Obviously English, a kind of still something he's learning. But hockey is a universal language. Gives the beaver tap and gets it right from Jumbo and forehand and boom back of the net, and that's like, I mean obviously it's a pretty goal, but uh, you know, in terms of like dangles on a breakaway, that's not like the greatest thing I've ever seen. So it's like already they're starting, they've gotten to Baron with two pretty easy goals right off the hop, and it's you like to see this from the Sharks because it's you start the season 2-0, and how many times have we seen it where you start to get a little overconfident and then you sort of you pull back a little bit. And I thought tonight, this game in particular, like, yeah, the Sharks, with Hurdle's second goal, they're up 6-1, but they didn't take their foot off the gas at all. Like I say, they kept their foot on the throat, of the opponent, and they, didn't matter what the score ended up being, they were going to step down regardless. And so that kind of killer instinct, especially early on, I mean, that that's what the Sharks need to do. I mean, the Sharks can't afford to let themselves be pushed around or let games get away from them. I mean, like you said, Puck, California is going to be a gauntlet. You have to keep pace with these teams.
Absolutely, and to make it 6-1 after two periods, you got to have that foot on the gas. I mean, it's early, but you need to make a statement early on to make sure that you kind of get a little bit of that intimidation factor as you head towards the playoffs and try to be that series contender that the Sharks have known they can always be. Third period, Derek Dorsett. That was a kind of nice move to beat Nemo there. Their Boyles with the assist along with Strawman at 8:22 to make it 6-2. Uh, then the Sharks would get a power play. Tomas Hertl bangs one home once he sees the puck and puts it past Biron. His fifth of the season, 5 goals in his last 2 games, a hat trick. I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure. I think maybe Jeff Friesen might be the closest one to score, to the youngest one to score in a hat trick in Sharks history. He gets the hat trick from Daddy and TK Tyler Kennedy to make it 7-2 there. Hurdle, have yourself a night, man.
Yeah, you're not kidding. And what I like seeing too, and I think they mentioned it on the broadcast as well, but Hurdle went to the front end of the net and he got hit with a puck, and I think he had to go to the room and get checked out or whatever, but comes back and not afraid to go back to the front of the net, and clearly it paid off for him. I mean, he got the hat trick, obviously. His mom's there watching, his girlfriend's there, but like I said earlier, just being 19 years old and like having the confidence just spilling out of you. I
Mm.
mean, I can't. You mentioned Jeff Friesen. I can't think of the last time the Sharks had somebody that young, let alone a teenager, stepping up and just taking the reins.
Yeah, yeah. You only hope for great things to come out of the kid. Just stay healthy, stay on top of it, and keep scoring. And as he did, just about 3 minutes later, with probably the most fanciest goal I've ever seen a San Jose Shark
Ugh,
put on. He's,
disgusting.
I mean, his fourth goal of the game, sixth on the season. Demers again, and Antti Niemi gets an assist on there. So Nemo gets his first point of the campaign. I mean, come on.
Well, it's like I said, a good team effort. Even the goalie's getting in on it.
And honestly, think about it. We talk about we'll get to Justin Braun's goal to make it 9-2, but you had Braun, Demers, uh, Irwin, and Hurdle and Vlasic. The entire defense gets on the board. I mean,
Yeah, yeah. The only defenseman who didn't have a point was Brad Stewart tonight, but I still thought Brad Stewart did a lot of things well. He first game of the season, obviously, but he came in, he had a couple shots, played big minutes, had some hits. Uh, so obviously, like even though you're not getting on the score sheet, it's not really what you expect from Brad Stewart. As long as he's kind of playing that physical game, and making it hard for the offense and the other team to do anything. Like I'm totally fine with it. But to your point, Puck guy, like you know all five of the six defensemen all factoring into the scoring. Like that's where we're starting to see. Things go. You have Drew Doughty on LA. You have Eric Carlson on Ottawa. You have these guys where the offense is coming from the defensemen. And so I think like the fact that the Sharks got as many points as they did from their defense tonight, I think is just going to add even more fuel to their fire. I mean, if you can get everybody chipping in, like I said, it goes a long way.
yeah, it was a great one to see for the defense. But yeah, getting back to that goal, and in fact, that's a great call, Evan. Ranger fans must remember Merrick Malik's goal from some years back between the legs as well. That was a shootout winner, if I'm not mistaken. Do you remember that one, Jerk?
I can't say that I do,
Yeah,
but
it was pretty similar to it. So good call, Evan. Uh, Skylar already calling for Hurdle for Calder. That's freaking amazing.
I mean, it is early, but if he's going to keep scoring like that, like I'm, I have no problem with that. I mean, I I think that Nathan McKinnon guy may have something to say about it, but I mean, it'd be nice for the Sharks to get another Rookie of the Year player. I mean, haven't had one since Nabokov, obviously. So,
Yep, in 2001, he was that. Felix asking that between the legs goal, though, filthiest goal in Sharks history.
oh yeah, probably
Yeah,
easily.
it's one of those ones that's going to be on the highlight reels all over. You know, I'm sure Sports Center down here, Jay and Dan up in Canada. Heck, Sportsnet connected. I'm sure they'll probably run like crazy with it. And hey, goaltenders, watch out! Hurdle's gonna put a hurt on you.
Well,
So
and even and even for us locally, like I have a hard time like you know that Comcast is gonna roll that clip out every chance they get.
oh
Anytime there's anything going on. Well, we got nothing on the schedule. We're gonna replay a classic Sharks game. Let's play this one where they dominated. You know what I mean?
right? No, seriously, seriously. I mean, 9-2. You had 4 goals from a rookie. I think it was the first time since 1988 with Jimmy Carson did it.
Correct.
I believe with Detroit, if I'm not mistaken, or was he with Edmonton at the time? I'm not sure on that one. I have to get back to
Uh,
him.
he was. Let's see. That's the beauty of the internet is you can look these things up.
Right?
1988, you said he was with the Los Angeles Kings in
Oh
1988,
yes.
or it could have been the Edmonton Oilers, depending on what part of 1988.
Oh, that's true. That is very true.
He did have 100 plus points both those years, though, so it's really anybody's guess.
Yeah, definitely. So, Tomas Hurdle, the youngest since 1988, so some 15 years ago, with 4 goals in a game as the youngest to score 4 goals in the game. It is the second time the Sharks have had a guy who scored 4 goals in a game. You go back to Owen Nolan in a game, I believe, against it was the Anaheim Mighty Ducks in 1995 that allowed
Mhm.
the get that goal. So,
That's just amazing to me, though. In let's see, 22 years, and you only have two guys put up 4 goals in the franchise history.
crazy, I tell you. Craziness. Nemo, 18 of 20, 900 save percentage. Really didn't need to be tested too much, but he got the job done tonight, I thought.
Yeah, I mean, only 20 shots on goal, saved 18 of them. So yeah, he really, I mean, I don't know, he really wasn't tested all too often tonight, and it's kind of hard to complain about a win, obviously. But I would like,
Right.
I mean, you look at a 900 save percentage for tonight for Niemi, and it's kind of like, ooh, 900 and you won. But again, only 20 shots on goal. It is what it is. Like, Niemi's obviously, I mean, he was a Vezina finalist last year. Like, he's a good goalie. Like, there's, nothing to worry about. Like, he's going to be dialed in more often than not. I'm not too worried about it.
Yeah, no, he seems pretty solid. Again, I thought he got robbed for the Vesna, but hey, it is what it is. And for Hurdle, nice set of bookends to have on your line with Joe Thornton, Brent Burns. Uh, you know, McClellan taking a risk of putting Burns back in his original spot forward, and I think the offense has done really well.
Honestly, when they put him at right wing last year, I honestly didn't had no like I'm like, okay, really, how much is this going to actually help us? But like
Yeah,
we're only 3 games in, obviously, but it seems like Burns being at right wing has like it's got Joe Thornton going quicker, and with Hurdle up on that line, we saw Pavelski there for a hot second, or you put Barlow there. Like I feel like Burns and Thornton like playing together. I think there's just something about it where it's just like they're just making things happen, and you put whoever on that left wing side, and you're gonna have success. Like I was suspect of the move at the time, but I think putting Burns to right wing, I mean that's like I wouldn't like that could be like a coach of the year move. Like let's say Burns
ooh,
puts up like 30 goals, like coach of the year. Like I could see that.
oh, I think someone's trying to do some predictive points here or something. Just saying, just saying. So let's see. So of course, on that night. Hurdle gets 4 goals. Pavelski had 3 assists on the evening. You also had Wingles with 2 assists, and let's see, Nieto had a goal and 2 assists. Jason Demers 3 assists on the night. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's yeah, no did playmaking defenseman, right?
Right? Go figure on that one. So Sharks put up 47 shots on goal to the Rangers 20, and definitely back-to-back stretches for them. So Sharks win this one 9-2. They're now 3-0 on the campaign. I mean, you know, you love to see it. Vancouver's already played one more game, and they've already lost, so they are tied with the Canucks for 6 points in the Pacific. Anaheim and Calgary at 4. The Kings, Coyotes, and Oilers at 2. So far off to a good start this season for Team Teal.
Yeah, and like I said, obviously, you lose, losing last year the way they did, 7 games against the LA Kings. I mean, that's
Mm-hmm.
like it's a tough way to go out because you ask me like the Sharks probably could have or should have won that series, and so you're gonna want to you're gonna have that bad taste in your mouth until you can get back to the playoffs. And the Sharks obviously, I think the Sharks think they're a better team, and so they're going to want to make a statement early on. 3-0 starts of the season. That's great. Like I said, Anaheim's been running away with the division. LA went to the West Final last year and, put Chicago to task. So, this whole division, I mean, I don't know. It remains to be seen, obviously, if Edmonton can figure it out. And I don't know. I'm still a little sus on, Calgary and Phoenix, obviously. But, Edmonton, if they can put it together, Vancouver's obviously always been a tough out. So I don't know. I think Pacific, if things get rolling, like Pacific might be jump ball. So the Sharks need to get as many wins as they can early on.
Yeah, you just never know, and I think the division will come down to Anaheim and LA for sure. So that will do it right there for the Sharks and Rangers. But you know what? I think it's time, Jerk. I really think it's time.
Have the goddamn common courtesy to give him a reach around.
It's wraparound. I mean, let's be
Have the
real.
goddamn courtesy to give him a reach around.
No, no, no. All right. Uh, some finals in there. Tampa Bay beats the Buffalo Sabres 3-2 in overtime. The Predators 3-2 over the Minnesota Wild. Colorado beats up on the Maple Leafs 2-1 in that one. The Coyotes, the Desert Dogs, lose 6-1 on Long Island to
Nabby getting the win in that game too.
yes, of course the Nabby gets the win. Yes, of course. Uh, Vancouver 3-2 over the New Jersey Devils. Who was in goal for New Jersey? That was it. Was it?
I think because no, actually, you know what? I totally forgot about this. Corey Schneider's first game back in Vancouver,
Wow, that's
and he
right.
loses in overtime. I mean, whatever, right? But
Yeah,
no, it's with the lockout last year, like everything being pushed back, it's just like it feels like the last season and a half is all just like run together. You know what I mean?
yes, exactly.
Like I feel like last season ended and then it's like, oh, here's the draft, oh, here's free agency, and it's the next season. It's like, well, okay, let's slow down for a second, you know?
Right. Absolutely. The Flyers beat up on the Panthers 2-1. The Penguins take care of Drew Weber's Carolina Hurricanes. Cam Ward did not win that bitch, as he would probably say. So 5-2 to final in that one. So that takes care of that on this night. So I think that's it for this one. It was a fun time around. Okay, Jerk. We should let off a little bit here.
We get back in the time machine.
Yeah, let's get back in the time machine. Let's get back to 2020 here. Where were you when you saw the hurdle? 4 goals, because that was just
Yeah, well, so I would, he had 2 goals in his first 2 games of the season. And so you're kind of thinking like, okay, it's a good start. And then he had his first goal and I'm like, all right, like 3-3, like he's keeping pace. Take the rest of the night off. We're chilling. and then puts up goal number 4, goal number 5, goal number 6, and it was just like it's one of those things where if you're not there watching it, like you're probably not going to believe that it happened. You know what I mean? And I was watching at home and just insane. Like, and even you take Hurdle's 4 goals out of it, like the Sharks won 5-2. I mean, that's a pretty commanding victory, especially against Henrik Lundqvist, Vezina goalie at the time. So
Yeah, he got pulled after the fourth goal, and that one. The funny story is that on that night, that day, I had taken Mom to Disneyland. We were fortunate to know somebody that had a pass into Club 33. We were able to go, and as we were headed back to the hotel, we stopped by ESPN Zone, and they were showing the Sharks game on the. You remember on the big screen that they would have outside at ESPN Zone in Anaheim?
yeah, yeah.
And they were showing the Sharks game, and I was like, "Wow, it's 6-2. Tomas Hertle's got a hat trick. That's amazing. Let's go get a bite to eat." And sure enough, here I am at the ESPN Zone, and I'm looking at the game, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, 9-2." And Tomas Hertl scored 4 goals, and they kept replaying and replaying it, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, it's crazy." And I had never seen, you know, uh the Sharks game on the massive big screen, especially at ESPN Zone, and that was fun to see for sure. So, oh yes, memories, memories. So, and the funny thing, AJ was supposed to be with us tonight. He was at the game with his dad, and he's mentioned it before, but he picked up like one of the first Hurdle jerseys at that
Yeah,
game.
because I think if memory serves correctly from when AJ told the story, I think like obviously AJ watched the game against Phoenix and, was lit at the fact that Hurdle had 2 goals. And then so, rolls up to the Rangers game, is like, you know what, I'm gonna roll with this Hurdle kid and get a jersey. And then Hurdle puts up 4. I mean I didn't know AJ at the time, but he probably didn't regret that purchase at all.
Oh no, no, and I know he still has that jersey, and Hurdle's one of his favorite players for sure. So, Felix, if I'm being perfectly honestly, I wasn't expecting this show to be fully in the time machine to begin with. No,
Well, it's me and Puck Guy. What do you expect?
yeah, no, we've been tinkering with some ideas while we wait for hockey to return, and who knows when that'll happen. I mean, what do you think of that player's proposal that came out? I don't know if you guys talked about it on the technologist too much, but just to continue the season on in July and reward the cup in September, and then start the season again in November.
I mean, I understand that like, by doing that, they're acting as if the time off right now is the off season.
Yeah.
But I gotta say, like, if you look at it, excuse me, there's 12 games left in the regular season, then you got playoffs, then you're gonna roll right into another regular season. Like, you essentially are having like essentially the way it'll all shake out is like, oh yeah, we had a 68 game season, and then the following year we had a 105 game season.
Yeah.
And it's like, I mean, if the players are fine with it, then I'm fine with it. But I just worry if they did decide to do that, I would worry about the 2021 Stanley Cup playoffs just being boring. And AJ and I kind of talked about like, you know, where okay, so like regardless of timelines or whatever, regardless, you know, regardless of whatever happens, like just empty the tank on 1920. We're 85% of the way done with 1920. Play the remaining regular season games at the same pace they would have been played. Do the playoffs at the same pace that they would have been done. Just empty the tank. Do everything business as usual. And then, you know, do like a lockout shortened season where maybe you come back and maybe not 48 games, but maybe you have like a 56 game season or something that starts up like after Christmas time, just to give the players a real off season. Because, I've heard people say where it's like, oh, boo hoo, they're only going to get 2 months off. But like a full season plus playoffs, it's a grind.
Yeah.
You're traveling a lot, you're playing, and I know like not a lot of people like to shed tears for millionaires, who get anywhere from, 2.5 to 6 months off from work. But it's like NHL's a grind. You need as much rest as you can get. And, AJ mentioned it, like, just, AJ said, empty the tank on this season, get it done the way it's supposed to, and then do a shortened season next year. And I'm fine with it because, it's something I could live with that. I think you know, if they do like the player proposal like you're talking about, where they just do a full season, full playoffs here, take a month off, and then another full season,
Yeah.
like they're never going to catch up with themselves, because then it's going to make the 2021 off season condensed somehow, and then everything is going to be rushed and pushed, and they're never going to catch up with themselves. I mean, I hate to say it, but I feel like a shortened season is inevitable, either that, or unless with this, if they don't want to do a shortened season, like, just get everybody to like 70 games and then call the regular season, and then maybe amend the first round to be shorter, and then you do like a condensed playoffs.
Yeah.
Because if they're intent on keeping the seasons intact as is, there's no way we don't have a shortened season coming up, in my opinion, unless they want to burn out the players.
Yeah, and that's my thing is like defending Stanley Cup champion should have all the advantages of it. And honestly, I think they would be at the biggest disadvantage just because of the lack of rest. I mean, yeah, you're giving everybody the 4 months off now, essentially, according to this, but you give them 1 month off. They're going to be so busy. I mean, they'll be having their day they're going to scramble to do their day with the cup and all that other stuff. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what they come up with, but I agree with you. I think maybe, just for this season, maybe they go to a 5-game series for the first round or maybe the second round, just to kind of move things along a bit. But who knows? And like Felix said, I do know one thing about the whole situation. The league is trying everything they can to keep the full 82 game season next year, and I believe that's according to Haley or Bettman. Yeah, and that's fine. I mean, you can go into July of next year for the 2021 season for all I care. Just so that way you're not scrunching the guys, because I remember the World Cup of Hockey early on kind of did the same thing, kind of crunched the whole season down, and for a team like the Sharks, they didn't recover.
No, and it's kind of, on the flip side of that, I'm kind of surprised that Pittsburgh repeated that year, just because they won the cup the previous year, and then they had Crosby and a couple other guys, Malkin, in the World Cup, and then they went all the way through again. And
Right.
So, yeah, I think if they do, like, whatever they do, something is going to suffer. Whether they do, they finish 1920 and then maybe 2021 is shortened, or they cancel 1920 and they do a condensed playoffs and then 2021 is full but it's condensed, or whatever they do, it's going to be interesting. And they're also obviously, like, there are a couple teams who are right there on the cusp that could potentially not get into the playoffs, and so they're talking about, okay, instead of 16 teams, what if we have 22 teams in the playoffs, because you have, like, it's a tough spot, because just looking at the standings right now, you have the Islanders, the Rangers, the Panthers, the Canucks, the Wild, and the Coyotes, and even the Blackhawks, if they get their crap together. All of these teams are out of a playoff spot, but if they go on a run to end the season, they could be in a playoff spot. So I think it would be kind of unfair if they just got stuck. Oh, sorry, you didn't make the playoffs because you didn't,
Right.
get it done. And I know a lot of people are saying, like, I've heard say, oh, points percentage, blah, 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 do points percentage.
Mm-mm.
The only problem with that is, Vancouver, who's in 10th place, or I'm sorry, ninth place, excuse me. Vancouver would leap over Winnipeg, who's in 7th place, if you do it by points percentage, which is
Go
obviously
figure.
not fair. And I think too, like I said, a majority of the teams are at 70 games. There's a couple that are at 71. There's a couple that are at 68 and 69. Just get all these teams, get them to 73, or even say, okay, if you're way out of a playoff spot, we're canceling your games. And then if you're in the hunt, get them all to like 73 or 75. And then just call the regular season right there. Maybe the first round, maybe you do, like, the first round is like a 5-game series, and then, the second, third, and fourth round is 7 games. And, unfortunately, you may lose some days off along the way, but if they want to get it done to where 2021 and maybe even 21-22 isn't screwed up, like they're gonna have to make some sacrifices along the way,
Yeah.
right here, right now, because I don't know. There's so many different ways you can slice it, and this is all assuming that everything clears up. Because what if, let's say May 1st rolls around, and it's like, okay, hockey's back, basketball's back, we can go back to sports, and then you get 2 weeks into this condensed or reworked season, and then Corona comes back again. Are they going to shut down the season again?
Yeah. No, you
You
bring up a
know,
good point. If it rehashes, that's the scary part. So, you know,
that's why I said, and I only just thought of that right now when I said it, but like, San Jose, LA, Anaheim, Detroit, Ottawa, New Jersey, Buffalo, Montreal, I wouldn't even worry about getting them to 82. I would just say, you're way out of it. Go home.
yeah, no, it's true. Just in case there's something going on, and then of course we heard about the Ottawa situation and how that's being tied to LA. It's also being tied to San Jose. So
Brooklyn
interest,
as well.
yeah, Brooklyn as well with that. So. Well, in case you missed anything or you want to watch this again, check us out on tealtownusa.com or your favorite podcatcher, whether it's Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, YouTube, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, Spotify, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, you name it, you love it, and always available at tealtownusa.com. Jerk, it's been a pleasure. I think it's been a while since we actually have done an After Dark together, so you've been missed. I appreciate you, buddy. Your final thoughts and where the people can find you.
So, final thoughts. Sharks are 3-0 to start the season. Big win against Vancouver, big win against Phoenix, big win against the Rangers. Keep it rolling. I mean, Sharks are Sharks are going on the road. They're going on the road now after starting the season, at home. But they got a nice little like surplus of points built up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, we'll see. I mean, let's see, their next game is going to be, let's see, who do they got? They got the Vancouver Canucks coming up on Thursday.
Up in Vancouver. That'll be an interesting
yes.
one.
I mean, yeah, I have to imagine they're going to be pretty pissed off about, opening night getting handled the way that they did. So we'll see. And obviously, Pucknology After Dark will be with you after that game as well. Okay, it's 2020. A nice way to forget about everything that's going on right now and kind of look back a little bit, look back to a positive time. It's the last year hasn't been a very positive time for Sharks fans, so nice to look back to something fun. If you think that we're all going to outlive Corona and you want to follow me on Twitter where we can actually talk about hockey, follow me on Twitter at hockey_jerk. Puck Guy, AJ, and myself, we also regularly do Discord shenanigans every Friday night. But with quarantine in place and whatever verbiage is being used, it might be like free for all like every day. So
right.
If you enjoy a more loosey-goosey conversation and you even want to get involved in the conversation yourself, Discord. That's like the three of us, AJ, Puck, and myself. That's like our little side project within the side project that is Teal Town USA. So like that's the spot to be.
Alrighty. Thanks, Jerk. Appreciate it. I'm at PuckGuy14 on the Twitter and the Instagram. Not sure when we'll be back. I know there is a potential Classic Sharks game on Friday, and I believe it's from this season. So obviously we really got, throwback to November. So we'll let you deal with that.
I'll say, let me ask this. So this will be the chat. The whole like shtick of like Puck Guy and I acting as if it is the day of the game we were talking about. Is that something that was interesting to you guys? Because that's something Puck Guy and I talked about, like even going back way further, like playoff games from the early 2000s. So if doing like a time machine podcast, if that's something that's interesting, let us know.
Definitely, please let us know either on Twitter, on the Discord. Just let us know what we can bring you in this time of some form of entertainment and fun. Because as much as I know you guys need some entertainment, we would love to bring you some fun, and it's fun for us to do as well. So let us know either on the Twitter or Instagram or Discord, wherever you want to, share your comments, do so. So, we will be back with you in sometime in the near future with more content. We appreciate it. In the meantime, hit that subscribe button. Follow us on our social media. We appreciate it immensely. We do this for each and everyone. Don't forget the Pucknologist had an episode just the other day, so check that out. So with that, we will leave with you. We appreciate you guys so much. Nearly 2,000 subscribers. And until we see you again, keep it real, keep it teal, keep it real teal. Have a great night, everyone. We will see you very soon.